In the fast-paced world of technology, some names feel permanent. They're like mountains on the digital landscape, solid and unmovable. For decades, one name has stood taller than all the rest. Google. It's become more than just a company. It's a verb, an integral part of our daily lives, and honestly, the undisputed king of information. We've trusted it to answer our questions, guide our travels, and organize our digital existence. The idea of another company rising to challenge, let alone surpass, this titan has always seemed like a distant fantasy, almost like a plotline from a science fiction movie, rather than something we'd actually see in our lifetime. But today, the unthinkable has happened, and the foundations of the tech world are shaking. What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about the hierarchy of the internet is wrong? What if the giant you believed was leading the charge has been quietly overtaken? This isn't a rumor or some wild prediction floating around on an obscure forum. This is a fact, a seismic event that has taken place right under our noses, mostly unnoticed by mainstream media and the public. A new leader has emerged. A company that has managed to outmaneuver the most powerful information gatekeeper in history. The implications of this are staggering, reaching way beyond the stock market or tech blogs. It signals a fundamental change in how information is controlled, accessed, and used on a global scale. And honestly, the silence surrounding this monumental shift is maybe the most shocking part of the story. While we were all busy watching the latest smartphone releases and software updates from the usual suspects, a revolution was brewing in the shadows. This company didn't announce its arrival with a flashy Super Bowl commercial or a grand keynote presentation. It moved with precision and strategy, growing its influence and power without drawing attention. Its rise wasn't loud, it was a quiet, calculated ascent to the top. The fact that you probably haven't even heard its name yet is a testament to how brilliantly it has played the long game, just waiting for the perfect moment to reveal its dominance. This story is so much more than just a corporate David versus Goliath tale. It's a revelation about the true nature of power in the 21st century. It proves that in the digital age, no throne is secure and no empire is eternal. The company that has achieved this feat has rewritten the rules of the game, leveraging technologies and strategies that even Google couldn't fully anticipate or counter. Its success forces us to ask some critical questions. How did we miss this? What does this new company do differently? And most importantly, what does its reign mean for the future of technology and for every single one of us who depends on it every day? The answers are complex, surprising, and absolutely essential to understand. For over 2 decades, Google has been the center of our digital universe. It was the sun around which everything else orbited. Its algorithms dictated what we saw, what we read, and even in a way what we thought. This immense power created a sense of stability, a predictable order in the chaotic expanse of the internet. But what happens when that center of gravity suddenly shifts? What happens when a new, even more powerful force pulls everything into a different orbit? We are living through that moment right now. A change of this magnitude doesn't just mean a new name at the top of a list. It signifies a complete reordering of the digital cosmos and the flow of information worldwide. The mystery deepens when you realize this isn't just about search engines or online advertising. The company that has eclipsed Google operates on a different plane, wielding influence in areas that are becoming far more critical to our future. We're talking about the very fabric of artificial intelligence, the next generation of data processing, and the infrastructure that will power the technologies of tomorrow. While Google was perfecting its existing empire, this new titan was building a new one from the ground up, focusing on the unseen pipelines of innovation. This is about who will control the intelligence that runs our smart homes, our autonomous vehicles, and our future economies. This incredible story is a wake-up call for everyone. It reminds us that the tech landscape is far more dynamic and volatile than it appears on the surface. The household names we take for granted are not invincible. Beneath the familiar logos and user interfaces, there's a constant, relentless battle for dominance being waged with code, data, and visionary strategy. The winner of this battle isn't always the one with the biggest brand recognition. Sometimes, it's the one with the superior technology, the more agile approach, and the audacity to challenge the established order. The rise of this new leader is the ultimate proof of that principle. Here at Revo Now, we're dedicated to bringing you the stories that matter, the hidden truths that redefine our world. We cut through the noise to deliver insights you won't find anywhere else. This isn't just another tech update. This is a landmark event that will be studied for years to come. We've been tracking this development for months, piecing together the evidence and preparing to share the full, incredible story with you. What we've uncovered is more fascinating and more consequential than you can possibly imagine. This is the kind of revelation that changes everything, and we're here to guide you through every twist and turn of this unfolding narrative. The question on your mind is obvious. Who is this company? How could a name powerful enough to dethrone Google remain a secret? The answer is not simple, and honestly, that's exactly what makes this story so compelling. We're not going to just give you a name and a stock ticker. That would be a disservice to the scale of this revolution. To truly understand what has happened, you need to understand the how and the why. You need to see the pieces of the puzzle as they were put together, right in plain sight, yet cleverly disguised. The journey to this revelation is as important as the destination itself, and it starts with looking beyond the headlines. Throughout this deep dive, we'll peel back the layers of this mystery one by one. We'll explore the technological breakthroughs that paved the way for this company's ascent. We'll examine the strategic decisions and the market forces that created the opening it needed to surge ahead. This is a masterclass in modern business strategy, technological innovation, and corporate stealth. We'll connect the dots for you, showing you the subtle signs and the quiet victories that, when combined, led to this monumental power shift. Prepare to have your assumptions about the tech industry completely shattered as we unveil the full picture. Before we go any further into the heart of this incredible story, we have a small favor to ask. If you believe in uncovering the truth and staying ahead of the curve, please take a moment to hit that like button, share this video with someone whose mind you want to blow, and most importantly, subscribe to Revo now. By subscribing, you ensure you won't miss any of our exclusive investigations into the forces shaping our future. Your support allows us to continue digging deep and bringing these crucial stories to light. It helps our channel grow and lets the algorithm know that you want more content that challenges the status quo. In the coming segments, we'll venture into the unseen world of tech titans, exploring the very definition of power in the digital age. We'll reveal the specific metrics by which this new company has surpassed Google, and they might not be what you think. We'll discuss the game-changing technologies, from advanced AI to revolutionary data architecture, that gave it the ultimate edge. And, yes, we will finally reveal the name of the company that now stands at the pinnacle of the tech world. So, stay with us. The revelation is coming, and trust me, it's a story you do not want to miss. The future is here, and it has a new name. When we think of the technology giants, our minds immediately conjure a small exclusive club of household names. We picture the logos of Google, Apple, Amazon, and Meta. These companies are the public faces of innovation, their products deeply woven into the fabric of our daily routines. They host our photos, deliver our packages, connect us with friends, and answer our most trivial and profound questions. This constant visibility creates a powerful illusion that these are the only players that truly matter. We've been conditioned to see the tech landscape as a well-lit stage where a few star actors perform, while the vast, complex machinery operating behind the curtain remains completely out of sight and out of mind. This comfortable familiarity, however, is a deceptive veil. The reality is that the digital world is far more crowded and competitive than most people realize. It's a sprawling, multi-layered ecosystem teeming with specialized, powerful entities that you've likely never heard of. These are the unseen titans, companies that don't need public recognition because their customers aren't individual consumers like you and me. They operate in the world of B2B, business to business, providing the foundational technologies, the critical infrastructure, and the raw processing power upon which the consumer-facing giants build their empires. They're the engine rooms of the digital ship, silent and powerful, while the famous brands are merely the captains on the bridge, visible to all the passengers. Understanding this distinction is the first step to grasping how a new king could be crowned in silence. Think of it like an iceberg. The part we see above the water, the Googles and Apples of the world, is massive, impressive, and commands our full attention. But the true bulk, the colossal mass that gives the iceberg its power and stability, lies hidden beneath the waves. This submerged portion represents the unseen titans. They build the microchips that power every server. They design the fiber optic networks that carry data across oceans. And they create the complex software platforms that enable global finance and logistics to function. Their influence is not measured in app downloads or daily active users, but in petabytes of data processed, in nanoseconds of latency reduced, and in the fundamental reliability of the global digital infrastructure. This hidden world operates on a completely different set of rules and metrics. Success isn't about brand loyalty or viral marketing campaigns. It's about pure, unadulterated technological superiority and efficiency. These companies engage in a relentless, high-stakes battle for contracts worth billions, competing to become the indispensable backbone for entire industries. They are the architects of the digital age, yet their names are rarely spoken outside of boardrooms and server farms. It is from this shadowy, fiercely competitive realm that the company that surpassed Google has emerged. It didn't need to win our hearts and minds directly. It simply needed to build a better, more powerful engine, one that would eventually make it the true center of gravity in the technological cosmos. In the 21st century, the most valuable resource is no longer oil or gold, it is data. But data in its raw form is a lot like crude oil. It's vast and full of potential, but honestly, pretty useless until it's refined. The refineries of our digital age are algorithms. These complex sets of rules and instructions are really the engines that turn chaotic streams of information into meaningful insights, accurate predictions, and automated decisions. The ability to design a superior algorithm is, without a doubt, the single most powerful advantage a technology company can have. It's kind of the secret sauce that separates a market leader from a follower, and frankly, it's the foundation upon which unimaginable wealth and influence are built. Just look at Google's original success. It was all about having a better search algorithm, PageRank. The battle for technological supremacy today is, at its core, an algorithmic war. Companies are locked in this, never-ending arms race to develop smarter, faster, and more efficient algorithms for every imaginable task. We're talking about everything from optimizing supply chains and detecting financial fraud to personalizing content feeds and diagnosing diseases from medical scans. An algorithm that can perform a task even just a fraction of a percent better than its competitor can actually translate into billions of dollars in value. But here's the thing, this relentless pursuit of algorithmic perfection mostly happens behind closed doors, tucked away in research labs and data centers, far from the public eye. The victors in this war don't always make a big announcement about their breakthroughs, they just quietly deploy them and reap the rewards in silence. This is where our story takes a really critical turn. While most of us have been focused on the visible side of technology, the user interfaces, the new app features, the design of a smartphone, the real revolution has been happening at the algorithmic level. The company that has now overtaken Google didn't necessarily build a better website or a flashier app. Instead, it achieved a fundamental breakthrough in its core algorithmic capabilities. It created a new way of processing information, of learning from data, and of making predictions that is honestly an entire generation ahead of what was previously thought possible. This isn't just an incremental improvement, it's a paradigm shift, a quantum leap in computational intelligence. This algorithmic superiority is the key that unlocked the door to dominance. It allowed this unseen titan to solve problems that were previously unsolvable and to operate at a scale and efficiency that its rivals just couldn't match. Imagine an engine that is not only more powerful, but also consumes exponentially less fuel. That's the kind of advantage we're talking about here. It's an edge that compounds over time, letting the company attract the best talent, secure the most lucrative partnerships, and build an insurmountable lead. This company's power isn't just in the code it writes, but in the new reality that its code is able to create, a reality where it is now the undisputed leader. Every time you perform a search, stream a video, or use a cloud-based application, you're actually interacting with a colossal, globe-spanning physical infrastructure. This network of massive data centers, undersea fiber optic cables, and sophisticated networking hardware is, in fact, the true backbone of the internet. It's a world of concrete, steel, and silicon, and honestly, it's every bit as important as the software that runs on it. The companies that own and operate this infrastructure hold immense power. They're the landlords of the digital world, and every other company, including the famous ones we use every day, are basically their tenants. Control the infrastructure, and you control the flow of information itself. For years, Google was a leader in building out this infrastructure, investing billions in data centers and private undersea cables to make sure its services were fast and reliable. This was a key part of its moat, a massive barrier to entry for any would-be competitor. But you know, the game has changed. The demand for data processing, driven by the explosion of AI, the Internet of Things, and big data analytics, has grown at a rate that's almost impossible to comprehend. The nature of the required infrastructure has also evolved. It's no longer just about storing data and serving web pages. It's about providing specialized, high-performance computing power for incredibly complex AI models. A new kind of digital foundation is being laid. This is where the new leader made its move. While others were focused on expanding their existing infrastructure, this company was busy architecting and building the next generation of it. It focused on creating a network that wasn't just bigger, but fundamentally different. It was designed from the ground up for the age of artificial intelligence. This meant pioneering new chip designs, inventing revolutionary cooling systems for hyperdense servers, and developing a software layer that could manage and allocate computational resources with, honestly, unprecedented efficiency. It built the superhighways of the future while everyone else was still just adding more lanes to the old roads. By establishing this superior infrastructure, the company created an irresistible gravitational pull. The most advanced AI research groups, the largest corporations, and even governments started to rely on its platform, not because of its brand name, but because it was the only place they could get the raw power and capability they needed. It became the default foundation for cutting-edge innovation. This company didn't just outcompete Google on a single product, it actually rendered a part of Google's core infrastructure less relevant by building something fundamentally better. It became the new ground floor of the digital world, and everyone who wanted to build something truly revolutionary had to start building on top of it. What we're witnessing here is more than just a new company taking the top spot. It's honestly the beginning of a whole new technological era. The ripple effects of this power shift are going to be felt for years to come, influencing everything from the global economy to our personal lives. Staying informed about these developments isn't just for tech enthusiasts anymore. It's, well, essential for anyone who wants to understand the forces shaping our world. The mainstream news, let's be real, often catches onto these stories late, after the dust has already settled. But by that point, the crucial moments of change, the opportunities, and even the warnings have already passed. We believe you deserve to know what's happening as it happens. This is the core mission of our channel, Revo Now. We're committed to being your eyes and ears on the front lines of this technological revolution. We peel back the curtain to show you the unseen titans, the algorithmic wars, and the infrastructural battles that truly define the future. We connect the dots to give you a clear, comprehensive picture of what's coming next. This story about the company that surpassed Google is a perfect example of the kind of Every great revolution has a defining moment, a single event that acts as the catalyst for irreversible change. For the company that would eventually surpass Google, this moment wasn't a product launch or a flashy press conference. Actually, it was a quiet, internal demonstration that took place deep within its research division, far from the public eye and media speculation. It was the moment their new artificial intelligence framework, codenamed Project Chimera, successfully completed a task that was considered impossible by the wider scientific community. This wasn't just another step forward in machine learning, it was a fundamental leap into a new era of computational capability, a breakthrough that would totally redefine the boundaries of what was achievable. The specific task was deceptively simple in its description, but monstrously complex in its execution, to create a self-correcting global logistics model that could predict and reroute supply chain disruptions in real time, with zero human intervention. For years, even the most advanced systems, including those used by Google and other tech giants, could only model probabilities and suggest solutions for humans to implement. They were powerful analytical tools, but they were not truly autonomous. Project Chimera, however, didn't just suggest. It acted. It autonomously rewrote its own code, rerouted fleets of virtual ships and trucks, and optimized a system of millions of variables faster than any team of human experts ever could. The success of this internal test sent shockwaves through the company's leadership. They immediately understood the profound implications of what they had created. This wasn't just a better logistics tool, it was a demonstration of a new kind of intelligence. An AI that could not only analyze a complex system, but actively and intelligently manage it had applications far beyond shipping and inventory. It could be applied to energy grids, financial markets, telecommunications networks, and even complex biological systems. The company had stumbled upon a master key, a foundational technology that could unlock unprecedented efficiency and control across virtually every major industry on the planet. This was their breakthrough moment. This catalyst event marked the point of no return. From that day forward, the company's entire strategy shifted. All resources were reallocated to scale Project Chimera, to harden it, and to prepare it for deployment in the real world. The mission was no longer about competing with Google on its own terms, in areas like search or advertising. The new mission was to become the underlying operating system for the world's most complex industries. They knew they had a temporary, but massive, technological lead. The race was now on to capitalize on this breakthrough before the rest of the world, including Google, could even begin to comprehend what had happened and start to catch up. What made Project Chimera so revolutionary was a concept known as meta-learning, or more colloquially, learning to learn. Previous generations of AI, even the most sophisticated deep learning models, required massive amounts of human-labeled data to be trained for a specific task. To teach an AI to recognize a cat, you had to show it millions of pictures labeled cat. Project Chimera, however, was built on a different architecture. It was designed to understand the of learning itself. It could take a small, unlabeled dataset from a completely new domain and figure out the most efficient way to master it on its own, developing its own internal labels and learning strategies. This breakthrough effectively solved the biggest bottleneck in artificial intelligence, the dependency on human-curated data. While other companies were spending billions of dollars and countless man-hours to clean and label datasets for their AI, this new titan had an AI that could essentially do that work for itself and do it better. This gave it an almost unimaginable advantage in speed and adaptability. It could enter a new field, be it genomics, materials science, or high-frequency trading, and develop a world-class predictive model in a fraction of the time and cost it would take any of its competitors. It was like having a universal translator for data. The core technology behind this was a novel type of neural network that the company developed in-house, which they called a recursive self-improving network, or RSIN. Unlike traditional networks that pass data in one direction, an RSIN could loop back on itself, analyzing its own performance and modifying its own structure to improve. It was constantly running diagnostics on its own learning process, pruning inefficient pathways and strengthening successful ones. In essence, the company had created an AI that was not just a tool, but a tireless, self-improving digital scientist, capable of autonomous discovery and optimization on a scale that totally dwarfed human capability. This AI that learned to learn became the company's ultimate secret weapon. While Google and others were building bigger and bigger armies of specialized AI soldiers, each trained for a single purpose, this company had created a 5-star general that could instantly train a new army for any battle it faced. This fundamental difference in approach is what allowed it to begin its silent conquest. It didn't need to beat Google at search, because it could now build systems that made entire industries so efficient that the need for certain types of search queries would diminish over time by solving problems before they even happened. The breakthrough of Project Chimera led to a completely new paradigm in how the company viewed and utilized data. For most of the tech industry, including Google, the primary model was data aggregation. The goal was to collect as much data as possible from users and systems, store it in massive data lakes, and then run analytics on it to extract value, primarily for targeted advertising or service personalization. This model, while immensely profitable, treated data as a historical record to be analyzed. It was powerful, but it was fundamentally reactive. It looked at what had already happened to predict what might happen next. The new Titan, armed with its self-learning AI, flipped this model on its head. It pioneered a concept called generative data synthesis. Instead of just collecting data from the real world, its AI could create vast, perfectly structured, and highly realistic synthetic datasets. By understanding the deep, underlying rules of a system, be it a financial market or a weather pattern, the AI could generate trillions of hypothetical scenarios and their outcomes. It could simulate the future, not just predict it based on the past. This allowed it to train its models on a range of possibilities far greater than what could ever be captured from real-world observation alone. This ability to generate synthetic data was a game changer. It solved the privacy problem that plagued other tech giants, as the AI could learn from the patterns in sensitive data without ever needing to store the raw personal information itself. It could create a perfect simulation of a customer base or a patient population, allowing for incredible personalization and medical discovery without compromising individual privacy. Furthermore, it could create data for edge cases, rare but critical events that don't appear often in historical records, like a once-in-a-century financial crash or a novel network failure. This made its systems incredibly robust and resilient. This approach represented a quantum leap in data strategy. While Google was the master of organizing the world's information, this new company had become the master of generating information. It was no longer just about having the biggest database, it was about having the most intelligent data creation engine. This capability gave it an insurmountable edge in every field it entered. It could build better predictive models, design more resilient systems, and innovate at a speed its competitors simply could not match. The data revolution they started was not about volume, but about intelligent creation and simulation. For years, the tech world measured dominance by a handful of public-facing metrics: daily active users, search query volume, ad revenue, and market capitalization. By these traditional measures, Google remained the undisputed king. However, behind the scenes, a new, far more important metric was emerging as the true indicator of technological power: autonomous decision volume, or ADV. This metric measures the number of significant, high-value economic or operational decisions made by an AI system per second, without any human intervention. It's not about how many questions an AI can answer, but how many critical actions it can take. This is the metric by which the new Titan quietly surpassed Google. While Google's AI systems were handling billions of low-stakes decisions a day, like which ad to show or what search result to rank higher, the new company's AI was making millions of extremely high-stakes decisions. It was autonomously managing power distribution for national energy grids, executing billions of dollars in financial trades based on microsecond market shifts, and dynamically optimizing the manufacturing output of hundreds of factories. Each decision had a direct, measurable, and massive economic impact. The cumulative value of its ADV quickly dwarfed the value generated by Google's consumer-facing AI. The shift to valuing ADV over user engagement marked a fundamental change in the definition of a tech giant. It signaled a move from an attention economy to an autonomy economy. The ultimate power no longer resided with the company that could capture the most eyeballs, but with the company whose AI could be trusted to run the most critical systems. This is a much harder metric to achieve. It requires not just intelligence, but near-perfect reliability, security, and a level of trust that consumer-facing companies rarely have to earn. To allow an AI to control a power grid, you need to be certain it won't fail. The new leader focused relentlessly on perfecting its systems to maximize ADV. Every aspect of its technology, from the custom silicon in its servers to the architecture of its AI, was designed to increase the speed, reliability, and value of the autonomous decisions it could make. While the rest of the world was watching user growth charts, this company was watching its ADV climb into the stratosphere. It was a silent coup, executed in the language of a new, more powerful metric. By the time anyone thought to measure power in this way, the company had already built an insurmountable lead, becoming the new invisible backbone of the global economy. The final piece of the breakthrough was not a technological innovation, but a strategic masterstroke, the silent deployment. After perfecting its AI and proving its capabilities internally, the company made a crucial decision. It chose not to market its revolutionary technology as a single, branded product. There was no Chimera AI launch event. Instead, it broke the technology down into hundreds of smaller, highly specialized services and began embedding them into the existing software and infrastructure of its enterprise clients. It was a Trojan horse strategy, deployed on a global scale with surgical precision and patience. For example, a major shipping conglomerate wouldn't buy a new AI logistics system. Instead, they would receive a routine software update for their existing fleet management tool. Buried within that update would be a small component of the new AI, one that might optimize fuel consumption by a mere 2%. A few months later, another update would improve container stacking efficiency. A bank's fraud detection software would be updated to include a new pattern recognition module. Each update was a small, almost unnoticeable improvement, a quiet injection of superior intelligence into the systems their clients already used and trusted. This approach was brilliant for several reasons. It avoided triggering competitive alarm bells from rivals like Google. There was no single big target to attack or even analyze. It also bypassed corporate resistance to change. Companies weren't asked to rip and replace their existing systems, but merely to accept small, incremental improvements. Over a period of 2 to 3 years, this strategy allowed the new Titan to deeply entrench its revolutionary AI across dozens of key industries. It became a critical, load-bearing component of the global economy, without anyone ever realizing a single unified intelligence was connecting all the pieces. By the time the full scale of this deployment became apparent, it was already too late for competitors to react effectively. The company's AI was no longer just a product. It was the invisible, indispensable nervous system running through its clients' operations. Removing it would be like a human trying to remove their own cerebellum. The breakthrough wasn't just the creation of the AI. It was the genius of its silent, pervasive integration into the fabric of world commerce. The company had achieved total dominance not with a bang, but with a billion quiet, almost imperceptible whispers of code. The moment has finally arrived. After tracing the seismic shifts in the tech landscape, exploring the rise of unseen titans, and dissecting the revolutionary breakthrough in artificial intelligence, it is time to pull back the final curtain. The suspense has been building, the questions have been mounting, and the scale of this change is now clear. The company that has quietly architected this new era, the entity whose autonomous decision volume has eclipsed the metrics of old, the name that now represents the pinnacle of technological power, is not one you would have guessed. It is not a spin-off of a known giant or a rebranded legacy player. The company that has surpassed Google is Synthetics, pronounced Syn-the-tics. The name itself is a clue to its core philosophy. It is a fusion of synthesis and analytics, reflecting its unique ability to not just analyze existing data, but to synthesize new, actionable intelligence from the underlying principles of a system. For years, the name Synthetics has existed on the periphery, known only to a select group of C-suite executives in heavy industry, finance, and logistics. It was a name spoken in boardrooms when discussing impossibly complex optimization problems, a vendor known for its discretion and its almost miraculous results. It never sought the limelight because its mission was never to be famous. Its mission was to become essential. Now, the secret is out. Tech journalists, financial analysts, and industry insiders are scrambling to understand how they missed the story of the century. The name Synthetics is suddenly ricocheting through the echo chamber of the internet, with every article attempting to piece together the history and strategy of this once shadowy firm. But we at Revo now have been tracking their silent ascent for over a year, piecing together the puzzle from patent filings, obscure industry journals, and off-the-record conversations with engineers and early clients. We saw the pattern emerging long before it became a headline, and we understand that this is more than just a new name at the top. It's a new paradigm. The revelation of Synthetics is a humbling lesson for us all. It proves that true power in the digital age is not always loud. It doesn't always come with a charismatic CEO giving keynote speeches or a suite of apps on your phone. Sometimes it is quiet, methodical, and infrastructural. Synthetics built its empire in the plumbing of the world, reinforcing the pipes, optimizing the flow, and eventually becoming the master waterworks for the global economy. Its rise to the top was not an accident or a stroke of luck. It was the result of a deliberate long-term vision and a profound technological advantage that has now reshaped our world. So, like, many tech legends, Synthetics has humble beginnings that really belie its current status as a global powerhouse. It wasn't born in a Silicon Valley incubator with venture capital funding or anything like that. Instead, it was actually founded in 2008 in this cramped office space above a machine shop in Stuttgart, Germany, a city that's pretty much world famous for its engineering prowess. Now, the founders. They weren't your typical software gurus from Stanford or MIT. They were a trio of, unlikely partners, a disillusioned theoretical physicist, a veteran logistics manager from a major automotive firm, and a reclusive expert in chaos theory. What brought them together was this shared obsession, the belief that the world's most complex industrial and economic systems were running with, honestly, staggering inefficiency. Their initial goal was actually pretty modest. They just wanted to create a better simulation software for manufacturing supply chains, a tool that could help companies predict bottlenecks. For the first few years, Synthetics was just a small niche consultancy. They took on these so-called unsolvable problems for a handful of German manufacturing clients, gradually building a reputation for their unorthodox but super effective methods. But they didn't just write code, they went much deeper, building these intricate mathematical models of their clients' entire operations, from the flow of raw materials to, the wear and tear on individual machines. This deep systemic understanding would later become the bedrock of their AI, Project Chimera. The real turning point came around 2015. While the world was getting all excited about consumer AI like Siri and Alexa, the Synthetics team had this profound insight. They realized their simulation models were becoming so accurate that they could be used not just for prediction, but for autonomous control. That's when they pivoted from being just a consultancy to a full-on technology company, pouring all their resources into building what they called the Recursive Self-Improving Network, or RSIN, which would power everything they did going forward. They consciously avoided the public eye, turning down interviews and even venture capital that demanded a more public-facing strategy. They knew, deep down, the value of their creation depended on its quiet, unimpeded development. This long, patient incubation period is really what set Synthetics apart. While Google was focused on the vast horizontal market of consumers, Synthetics zeroed in on deep vertical integration within critical industries. They spent a decade mastering the intricate languages of manufacturing, energy, and finance before they even began to deploy their AI at scale. Their growth wasn't explosive, it was more like a slow, deliberate crystallization process. They didn't build a rocket ship, they cultivated a colossal banyan tree with roots that grew deep into the foundations of the global economy long before anyone noticed the size of its canopy. If you were to ask, what really makes Synthetics fundamentally different from Google, the answer actually comes down to a single concept: integrated autonomy. Google's approach, for the most part, has been all about augmented intelligence. Its tools are designed to make humans smarter and more efficient. Google Search gives you information so you can make a decision. Google Maps suggests routes for you to choose, and its AI helps doctors spot anomalies in scans for their review. The human is always in the loop, acting as the final decision maker. Now, that's a powerful and incredibly useful model, but at the end of the day, it's ultimately a supportive role, an assistant to human intellect. Synthetics, on the other hand, built its entire stack around the principle of removing the human from the loop in highly complex, high-velocity systems where, honestly, human reaction time is a liability. Their secret sauce isn't just a smarter AI, but an entire ecosystem designed to enable that AI to act safely, reliably, and decisively in the real world. And this goes way beyond the algorithm itself. It involves creating custom hardware, fail-safe network protocols, and a new kind of digital twin technology that creates a perfect, real-time replica of a physical system. That way, the AI can test its decisions in a virtual environment, milliseconds before actually executing them in reality. Let's, compare their approaches to a self-driving car for a second. Google's Waymo is a great example of augmented intelligence scaling toward autonomy. It's an AI learning to perform a human task, driving in a human world. But Synthetics's approach would be to redesign the entire traffic system. Its AI wouldn't just drive one car, it would be the city's central traffic controller, orchestrating the movement of every vehicle, traffic light, and pedestrian sensor at the same time for maximum efficiency. It doesn't just participate in the system, it actually becomes the system. This is the core of integrated autonomy, optimizing the whole, not just the individual parts. And this fundamental difference in philosophy explains how Synthetics could rise without directly competing for Google's users. They weren't building a better search engine, they were building systems that would eventually make many commercial and industrial search queries obsolete. I mean, why would a factory manager need to search for a new supplier when the Synthetics-powered system had already anticipated the shortage, identified the optimal new supplier, vetted them, and initiated the order autonomously? Synthetics doesn't answer your questions. It aims to create a world where you don't even have to ask them. That's the secret sauce that makes it the new, silent ruler of the technological world. While Synthetics's technology is built on autonomy, its impact is, at its core, profoundly human. To really understand its true power, we have to look beyond the code and listen to the people whose work and industries have been transformed. So, we spoke to a senior operations director at one of the world's largest shipping conglomerates, who was actually an early adopter of the Synthetics platform. She told us, before, my job was a constant battle, a frantic game of whack-a-mole with port strikes, weather delays, and customs issues. Now the system handles 99% of that. My job has shifted from crisis management to strategic oversight. I'm not fighting fires anymore. I'm designing a more fireproof building. And, this sentiment is echoed across different sectors. A lead engineer at a national power utility described the change in his control room. He said, "We used to have a wall of screens with hundreds of alerts going off. It was an information overload." The Synthetics AI doesn't just show us data, it provides a single, clear system health score and handles the micro-adjustments to the grid itself. We've seen a 40% reduction in localized outages, and our grid is more stable than ever. The system sees perturbations we couldn't even detect, let alone react to. It's like having a superhuman colleague who never sleeps. Even on the factory floor, the reaction has been, honestly, surprisingly positive. A production line supervisor in an automotive plant initially feared the AI would replace his team, but instead, he found it empowered them. He told us, the system identifies potential machine failures days in advance and schedules preventative maintenance automatically. It optimizes our workflow in ways we never thought of. My team now spends less time on repetitive tasks and more time on complex problem-solving and quality control. The AI handles the grunt work, which lets us focus on the craft. Production is up, and workplace accidents are down. It's a win-win. These testimonials, really reveal the true nature of the Synthetics revolution. It's not a story of machines replacing humans, but of systems being elevated to a new level of efficiency that allows human talent to be redirected to higher-value work. The tech media, often focused on consumer gadgets, totally missed this narrative. They were looking for a new social media app or a new smartphone, something to change how we spend our free time. But Synthetics created a technology that has fundamentally changed the nature of work itself for millions of people in the industries that, honestly, form the bedrock of our civilization. Comparing Synthetics to Google is, in many ways, really an apples to oranges comparison that highlights a fundamental evolution in what constitutes technological power. Google's power, vast as it is primarily derived from organizing and providing access to information. It's a gatekeeper to the world's knowledge, a library of unimaginable scale. Its dominance is rooted in the attention economy. It thrives when billions of people are actively looking for things. This is an immense, world-changing power. But it's largely a reactive power. It responds to the queries and intentions of its users, making it an indispensable tool for navigating the existing world. Synthetics represents a new, more profound form of power, prescriptive power. It doesn't just organize information, it uses information to autonomously direct the physical world. Its power isn't measured in clicks or user engagement, but in megawatts managed, in cargo containers rerouted, and in market transactions executed. It's kind of like the invisible hand of the global economy made manifest in silicon and code. While Google's AI helps you find the best path through traffic, Synthetics' AI is the traffic itself, flowing in a perfectly optimized pattern. It's a proactive power that doesn't just navigate the world, but actively shapes it. This shift from informational power to prescriptive power is probably the single most important technological trend of our time. The company that masters the former builds a great business. The company that masters the latter builds the foundation for a new economy. Google perfected the art of answering questions. Synthetics is perfecting the art of making the questions irrelevant by solving the underlying problems before they even emerge. This is why, on the metric of autonomous decision volume, the true measure of economic and operational impact, Synthetics has been able to surge ahead, even while remaining relatively unknown to the general public. Understanding this distinction is crucial. The rise of Synthetics does not mean Google is irrelevant. Far from it. Google remains the undisputed master of consumer information, but it does mean that the center of gravity in the tech world has shifted. The ultimate prize is no longer just controlling the flow of bits and bytes to our screens, but controlling the flow of atoms in the real world, optimizing supply chains, energy grids, and industrial processes. Synthetics quietly claimed this prize while everyone else was still focused on the old game. It has established a new kind of power, a power beyond search. We have journeyed through a shocking revelation, from the initial whisper of a new titan to the full unveiling of Synthetics. We've seen how this once shadowy company harnessed a new kind of artificial intelligence, focused on a more potent metric of power, and silently embedded itself into the very foundation of our global economy. The rise of Synthetics is not just a story about one company overtaking another. It is a landmark event that signals the end of one era and the beginning of another. We're moving past the information age, which Google so masterfully defined, and are now entering what can only be described as the autonomy economy. This is the new reality, and its implications will shape the 21st century. In this new economy, the ultimate value isn't found in access to information, but in the ability to automate complex decisions and actions. The leading powers will be those, like Synthetics, who can build trusted autonomous systems that manage the critical infrastructure of our world with superhuman efficiency and foresight. This shift redefines everything we thought we knew about technology's role in our lives. It moves from being a tool we use to a system that operates on our behalf, often invisibly. While we continue to use search engines to navigate our personal lives, the engines of commerce, industry, and logistics are now being driven by a new, more powerful force that operates on a completely different plane. The story of Synthetics and its integrated autonomy serves as a profound lesson. It teaches us that the most significant revolutions are not always televised. They can happen quietly, in the background, fundamentally altering the world's operating system while we are distracted by the user interface on our screens. It forces us to look deeper, to question the familiar narratives, and to understand that the true drivers of change are often hidden within the complex machinery of our civilization. The power of Synthetics is not just in its code, but in its strategic patience and its deep understanding that transforming the world's infrastructure is a more potent goal than capturing its attention. This new dawn of the autonomy economy presents both incredible opportunities and pressing questions. It promises a world of unprecedented efficiency, where waste is minimized, resources are optimized, and complex systems become more resilient and reliable. However, it also concentrates immense prescriptive power into the hands of a few entities capable of building and managing these autonomous platforms. Understanding this new landscape is no longer optional, it's essential for navigating the future that is already here. The world did not just get a new number one tech company, it inherited a new model for how power and progress are defined. The revelation of a company like Synthetics and the dawn of the autonomy economy can feel overwhelming, as if the future is being decided in distant boardrooms and server farms without our input. But this is precisely why staying informed is so critical. Your role in this new digital world is more important than ever. It's your responsibility as a curious individual, a professional in your field, or simply a global citizen, to understand these powerful undercurrents of change. Technology is not a passive force that happens to us. It's a system we live within, and your awareness is the first step toward agency. How does this new reality of autonomous systems affect your industry, your career, and your daily life? We want to transform this channel from a one-way broadcast into a two-way conversation. Your experiences and perspectives are an invaluable part of this story. Have you noticed changes in your own workplace that hint at this shift towards integrated autonomy? Perhaps you've seen new software that makes decisions you used to make, or optimization systems that have changed your workflow. Maybe you have used a new piece of technology that felt surprisingly predictive, almost seeming to know what you needed before you did. Your personal anecdotes are the ground truth data that help all of us understand the real-world impact of these massive technological shifts. This is where we turn the microphone over to you. We genuinely want to hear what you think. Head down to the comments section right now and share your thoughts. What was the most shocking part of the Synthetics story for you? Do you believe the rise of autonomous systems is a net positive for society, or do you have concerns about this new form of concentrated power? Your insights fuel our community and help us identify the next big story. The diversity of opinions and experiences shared in the comments is what makes the RevoNow community so special and so intelligent. Let's start a real conversation about the future we are all stepping into together. Furthermore, your curiosity should not end here. The rise of Synthetics should inspire you to look at the world with a new lens. Question the technologies you use every day. Ask who builds the invisible infrastructure that powers them. Look beyond the brand names and try to see the systems at play. By cultivating this critical mindset, you move from being a passive consumer of technology to an active and informed participant in the digital age. Your awareness is the most powerful tool you have to navigate the complexities of the 21st century, and it is our mission here at RevoNow to keep that tool sharp. The story of Synthetics is a monumental chapter in the history of technology, but it's just one chapter in a much larger book that's being written in real time. The world of unseen titans and quiet revolutions is vast and full of other incredible stories waiting to be told. The same forces of algorithmic innovation and infrastructural power that propelled Synthetics to the top are at play in countless other sectors, from biotechnology and materials science to finance and agriculture. There are other Syntheticses out there, companies that are right now laying the groundwork for the next paradigm shift. Our work here at RevoNow is never done. This brings us to our final and most important question for you. What do you want to see next? Your interests guide our investigations. Are you fascinated by the world of private space exploration and the companies building the infrastructure for a multiplanetary future? Or perhaps you're more interested in the revolution happening in synthetic biology, where companies are learning to program life itself. Maybe you want a deep dive into the secretive world of high-frequency trading firms and their AIs that battle over trillions of dollars in milliseconds. Let us know in the comments which companies, technologies, or industries you want us to put under the microscope next. To make sure you're here for that next revelation, please, if you haven't already, take this final moment to subscribe to RevoNow and click that notification bell. It's the single best way to ensure you never miss an exclusive deep dive like this one. Every subscription helps our channel grow, allowing us to dedicate more resources to investigative tech journalism and bring you the stories that the mainstream media often overlooks until it's too late. We are committed to being your trusted guide through the plantuisen Marvin D. Sartent Kondakon Semiatramind, Mindri D. Xident Fries Dadestati Yadis. To the mainstay Reisekint one, Wamin D. Dinnerin D. Fries and Dis, warners of our rapidly changing world, and your support makes it all possible. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey to uncover the truth about the company that surpassed Google. The era of synthetics and the autonomy economy has begun, and now you are one of the few who understands what that truly means. The future is unfolding faster than ever, but together we can stay ahead of the curve. Stay curious, stay critical, and stay tuned. The next shocking revelation is just around the corner, and we can't wait to explore it with you. This is Revo Now, signing off.
Subscribe to Revo now and join our vibrant community of forward thinkers, change makers, and revolutionaries.